Alrighty. So I made a voice memo to myself the other night about this whole MrTLexify situation, and overnight, she had come out actually 4 hours after. I hadn't looked at her Twitter, I guess, and so I was missing out. But literally, like barely after, she put this whole Google Doc out. I'll just start reading it, because with the last voice memo I did, I more just gave my own opinion on Lex's Google Doc. Obviously, there will be like screenshots and shit of everything that he said put on screen as I'm saying it, but it was more an abbreviated version of his Google Doc. And like I said in that voice memo, it felt more like he was trying to save face and beat her to the Google Doc, beat her to the allegations, like ready to prove everything. It more seemed. Her part 1 is 76 pages long, so this is only a quarter of the story here. I'm assuming she's gonna release it in multiple parts, but in the first part, let's just get to reading. She says, "Hi everyone. This is part 1 of my explanation with everything going on. In this Google Doc, I address Lex contacting me as a minor and forming a romantic relationship with me as a minor, knowing I was a minor. There is a lot to address, and I'm going to be addressing everything in order as things happened in my life. This is my story. Lex, the person who this story is about, is trying to take away any credibility from me before I can get a formal response out. This entire thing is incredibly invasive since I will be posting pictures of me as a minor. Lex is purposefully leaving this out of his timeline, so I have to show this." Like I said, it's similar to what I was thinking was happening. He more tried to beat her to the punch of the Google Doc. And not to immediately jump to conclusions here, but hers is a lot more thorough, it seems. Like, Lex more just put paragraphs next to each screenshot explaining what was happening in the screenshot and left us to form our own opinion, while Ren here is actually painting a proper story. Trigger warning. There are very intimate photos that show myself getting groomed over the years by my favorite YouTuber. So, trigger warning for y'all. This is just letting you know there's images of grooming. My story starts off with me as a 15-year-old fangirl. I went to a Z House meetup in Santa Monica on January 24th, 2016, so she's known Lex for a while. I got to meet Lex and get a picture with him, but I was too shy to do any type of interacting with him. After the meetup, I continued being a fangirl and replied to Lex's public tweets and even tweeted him some cringe fan art that he retweeted. Lex followed me on Twitter after I interacted with more of his tweets, but he didn't message me until I tweeted out something about needing help with the Zetsubo no Shima Easter egg. Lex sent me my own tweet and offered to help me. I gladly accepted his help and downloaded Skype to talk to him. Our first ever call went on for 4 hours, and we proceeded to do this regularly, daily. Wow. Lex and I met in 2016, so that was something that I was completely unaware of. I thought they had known each other back in 2018, but apparently they've known each other since fucking 2016, which is actually insane. He started speaking to me when I was 15 years old and he was 18 years old. We formed an online relationship before we met in person with the intentions of dating in 2017. Here's a screenshot with the dates, confirming that Lex first talked to me when I was 15 and he was 18. He was telling me how much he appreciated my female presence in his life because he never really had one when he was younger. And the caption on the Instagram post is me saying I'm happy we made it past a year of knowing each other. Sorry, I've developed a horrible cough, but so these are, it looks like an Instagram post of her messages. I think this is like maybe her fangirl account, but aw, you're adorable, it's chill, we good, we gang, so don't overthink no more. Interesting. Here are the images of the first day Lex and I met in person, July 4th, 2017 in California. The first time they met in person on the 4th of July. It seems like they're hanging out on some rooftop watching the fireworks. There's very suggestive pictures. I mean, she's laying on his shoulder or whatever. The night we met, we spent the night together in a hotel room where Lex became my first kiss. I only have this image of me in the hotel the next day crying because Lex had to go back to LA. And this all happened in California. So there's a picture of her crying, and she has it pulled up for the date of July 5th, 2017. So the day after the 4th of July, just to prove she's not lying even more. Our second time meeting in person was on July 10th, 2017, when we booked a hotel for a weekend in Oceanside and took me to Disneyland. This was also my first time at Disneyland. He stayed until July 13th in this hotel room. Lex and I would make out. He would try to take things further, but I was very adamant on saying no. One night, Lex took it too far with me and touched my breast under my shirt, causing me to leave home for the night because I felt uncomfortable. I ended up coming back the next morning in my pajamas. By the way, this is the California Disneyland. This is like extreme evidence. She's literally sitting in his lap, and she has the date pulled up and at Oceanside, California, in Disneyland, like in the hotel. Like there's no denying these images, Lex. He's kissing her face. He's hugging her. It does not look good at all. August 12th, 2017 is when Lex invited me over to the Z house in LA, as well as the Boogie Boys house in LA. I spent multiple weekends with Lex in LA, partying with him and his friends, as well as going out to dinners and events with them. Lex lied about my age to all of his friends, telling them I was 18 years old. Lex even changed my birth year on a passport for an escape room that he, all his friends, and I did together so that no one would catch on. But yeah, there's images of him and that she took, and there's images of all three of them. So again, not a great look for Lex. The Instagram screenshots are from an account that I have owned since high school. I took the username from someone else named Alex when she deactivated their account. That's what it is. So it is from an account. So she had this account back in high school and would post pictures of her and Lex hanging out together on it, which is insane. Trigger warning, child grooming, and I guess through trigger warning for anybody ahead. Here are some videos of Lex and I at the Z house. I am incredibly intoxicated in the videos as Lex has me on top of him. He would get me drunk and take me back to a hotel away from the Z house in hopes of getting laid. And then it's a link to the videos that she posted on her Twitter. I actively opened my mouth and said, "Oh my God," when I saw this. But the reason I say stop in one of these videos is because Lex was running his fingers across my breast in a playful manner, trying to touch me without my permission. I'm 16 years old and Lex is 19 years old. Every night I spent with Lex, he would beg to do something with me. He would beg to eat me out, beg to finger me, beg to touch me anywhere, and beg to have sex with me. I always said no. It took a lot of begging from Lex for me to unwillingly give him what he wanted. Lex orally raped me multiple times at the Z house. I would wake up with no memory of the night before and with hickeys on my neck. On the last night at the Z house, everyone left early and Lex was the only one to stay in the Airbnb. This night, Lex made plans to get me high and take my virginity. He took me to the store with him to buy condoms, since I was very paranoid about the idea of no protection. When we came back to the Z house, Lex tried to set the mood for us by getting me high and putting on anime. The weed made me so paranoid and it made the anime so loud that I got overstimulated and cried to Lex that I didn't want to have sex that night. Lex didn't end up taking my virginity this night, but he expressed how upset he was that he bought condoms for no reason, yet I was not old enough to give consent anyways. Lex proceeded to get a hotel room for him and I for the next few days after Z House ended on August 31st, 2017. Lex took my virginity in his hotel room after begging me over and over. He begged me to have sex with him since that was our last night together and he was going back home to Canada. The whole experience was awful. I did not want to have sex with him. We made up the next morning and said our goodbyes to each other. He made plans to come back and see me. Since I do not have pictures of us in the hotel room, here are pictures with the dates proving that Lex and I were together at this time. The image of him with hearts around him was at a video recording for his 1 million subscriber special. Lex came back that same year October 29th, 2017, to take me to Disneyland with his best friend from Canada. His friend took professional photos of us on our date. I'm still 16 years old and Lex is still 19 years old. That was my second time ever going to Disneyland, and it was with Lex again because he knew I grew up in a low-income household that never went to Disneyland. I think she's saying that he sort of groomed her in the sense of taking her on these like extravagant dates, getting her to hang out at the Z house with all these YouTubers. Lex and I stayed in contact every day leading up to us meeting again in person on April 21st, 2018. Now I'm 17 years old and Lex is now 20 years old. Lex just came down to book a hotel room, smoke weed, and have sex with me. He also bought me my first smoking paraphernalia on this trip. Here's the link to the bubbler he bought me as a gift. After that, Lex came back during June 2018 to spend this summer in California with me. The Z House were doing another summer in California together, so Lex decided to have his own summer here. He rented an Airbnb and stayed for 2 months. This was when Lex started being over-sexual and toxic towards me. He would have sex with me multiple times over the course of this month, even buying me Plan B to avoid a possible pregnancy. We would constantly argue during this time period together, and I would spend a lot of time locked alone in the bathroom. Lex was also taking me to high school and picking me up after school so I could be with him. So he was literally taking her to school. Our next meetup in person was for my high school homecoming dance. Once again, Lex booked a fancy hotel for us to have sex in. He did take me to homecoming dance, and we even bought the printed photos that was taken of us. This is the only photo I have of Lex and I right after sex. But this photo, he's 20 years old and I'm 17 years old. The photos have the dates attached to them. It's shocking to me that nobody asked this man's age. For my 18th birthday, Lex came back down to California and rented out another very nice Airbnb for us to stay at. Lex took me to Disneyland again for my birthday. Lex also bought me $200 worth of weed and a shopping spree as a birthday present. My birthday is on December 12th. The next photo I'm providing is a text convo between Lex and I when we were sexting. That is my old phone number. I am 17 years old, and this wasn't the first time we sexted. He ended the convo by sending me a dick pic. I never enjoyed sexting Lex and was only doing it to please him. Lex had a high sex drive, and I had no sex drive at all. He also groomed me into calling him daddy at a young age because it fueled his kinks. Lex would call himself daddy around me to further groom me and implement the kink into our regular lives. He just, in another DM that he said, he just says the hard R in the message. I'm so shocked. I'm not sure if this is Lex. I'm assuming it is. It says Ninja2 sent you a direct message, but I'm pretty sure that's MrTLexify. I need N-word friends for video making. We'd come up with the funniest sketches. Crazy shit to say. I mean, it's not shocking if he's flirting with a 15-year-old girl. So, in the screenshot under this text, Lex sends me a tweet about another YouTuber couple who he saw as his friends and acknowledges that he is dating me even though I'm not legal. Some of you might ask, how is this grooming? Grooming, by definition, is the act of attempting to form a relationship with a child or young person with the intention of sexually assaulting them. Many things contribute to this lifetime of grooming I've gone through, but when Lex met me, he knew I was a virgin. He begged to do things with me. He begged to have sex with me. He bought me things and took me to Disneyland for my first time with the hopes of getting laid, but I was a child and I was scared. Throughout the time, I knew Lex as a minor until I turned 18. Lex was my provider and would give me things that my parents could not. For example, Lex would always get me the new video games that came out, along with the season passes for DLC, just so he could play games with me. Anything Lex bought me was in turn a way to get closer to him. This is part one of my story. I only told the story up until I turned 18, which now means I will be considered legal. I will be releasing a part 2 addressing things that happened when I became a legal adult and debunking many of Lex's claims against me with more proof. Lex purposely left out this part of our timeline from his Google Doc, and he purposefully is stating that our relationship only started when I was 18, but here's my evidence proving him wrong. Yeah, no, I would say that she definitely proved his ass wrong in all of these screenshots. It shocks me because 10 minutes ago I really had no idea who to believe, but the fact that even just this part 1 document is more thorough and has way more evidence compared to Lex's. I feel like Lex is definitely, not definitely guilty, but he's gonna have to come up with a real good legal case for why he never did any of this stuff, which I don't think he's gonna be able to find. Finally, maybe once she comes out with her part 2 and Lex starts taking his supposed legal advice that he's been getting, maybe we'll find out a completely different story. But for right now, it's not looking very great for Lex, in my opinion. Like I said, her document was just way more thorough, way more concise, a lot more evidence too, and like I said, it more seemed like when MrTLexify was putting out his, it more seemed like he was just trying to save face and beat her to the allegations quicker and say, no, this actually happened, even though it really did not. So, or maybe it did, I don't know. I'm not God. None of us were there for the relationship, so obviously I'm not going to set a conclusion, but for now, it's not a great position for Lex to be in. So unless he plans to come out with another Google Doc, or Ren finally puts out her part 2, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Really disappointing to see overall. And yeah, I'm gonna end it here since this has been going on for 27 minutes, and that's a lot longer than a voice memo that I wanted to do. I just wanted to make something very quick and concise, trying to cover the allegations like the last one, but her document is just so thorough, there's no way for me to slowly go through it like I did with Lex's, or just abbreviate it, you know? Like, there's a lot more direct evidence. So, yeah, I'm gonna end it here. Hopefully, something happens, and hopefully this will be my last video I'll have to make about this until the part 2 comes out.